What's poppin'? We got the house history class, man. Happy Corona break to y'all.
You know what it is. Go ahead, like and subscribe to the channel. This is where you finna learn about the history. You feel me? Tune in.
Straight like that.
Today I'm going to jump right back in and I'm going to start talking about the different types of agriculture found in LDCs as we wrap up this unit. So the different types of agriculture found in LDCs, you're going to really start with subsistence agriculture. And remember, you have subsistence agriculture, which is specifically you are farming for the purpose of surviving. You are farming for the purpose of feeding your family. You are not selling your crops. You may try to trade or barter with different people if you have a little bit of leftover crops, but for the most part you are not going to try and trade those crops. You are specifically farming for the need of your family. Commercial farming, remember, that is more used in MDCs. That is, you are farming for the purpose of creating money and generating business, agribusiness specifically. So the first thing that pops up again on your slides is something called shifting cultivation. It says a form of subsistence agriculture in which people shift activity from one field to the other. Each field is used for crops for relatively few years and then left fallow for a long period. Usually slash and burn farming is usually found in tropical regions. So the idea is, I don't know how much you all know about farming or agriculture and like that, but if you continuously grow the same crop on the same field, the soil is going to become exhausted. It's not going to become fertile. You're not going to be able to grow that crop there anymore. So people are switching crops from field to field, and this allows them to consistently use the different fields with different crops and be able to have the maximum use of the soil possible for that. And again, this is important in LDCs because you may only have a certain amount of land, right? It's not necessarily like most agribusinesses in the United States or more developed countries. They have this large quantity of land. It's not like that. So it's important that you understand. Again, slash and burn farming, it's a vocab term. It's as simple as you are literally slashing the crop and you're burning the field, and the idea is to make it more fertile for the next growth. The next thing we're going to talk about is pastoral nomadism. And it says a form of subsistence agriculture based on the herding of domesticating animals. The idea is dominated by growing sheep and goats due to harsh conditions. So the idea is you're going to have these different types of animals that you are using for your gain. Nomadism is specifically you are going to be traveling from one part of a area to another. And the fact that you are doing this in agriculture, you are using, again, these animals for your gain. Intensive subsistence agriculture, so this is practiced in your South and East Asia. This is where you use every bit of land possible. This is like where terrace farming comes into play. So if you have a country that is, let's say, hilly, you don't have a whole lot of land, but the land that you do have is hills, then they are going to cut into the land and they're going to use the land to be as a maximum amount of land as possible. Again, these people need all land possible, and you're going to grow certain types of crops there, whether it's wet rice, dry rice. It just really depends on where you're located and the types of climate that are there for those crops to grow. So yeah, jumping right into wet rice, where is it dominant? You're going to have your Central Asia, India, where it is too dry for wet rice. So that is where it's not going to be dominating, where they're going to grow there is like crops such as wheat, barley, millet, oats, corn, soybeans. It's very intensive use of the land. Crop rotation remains, and soil fertility allows for consistent or constant production. So the idea is you're allowed to maintain the production of these crops because you are using the soil as much as possible. Plantation farming is our next one. You all know plantation farming just based off of your general history knowledge of especially the United States and the plantations that are being used there. The idea is you have a large field and you have one product being grown, and that is the key component there, is one product usually found in tropical lowland. Those crops include, as got listed here, cotton, sugarcane, coffee, rubber, coca, bananas, tea, coconuts, palm oil, etc. And usually it's located in LDCs, but it's owned by companies and MDCs. This is for the fact that obviously these workers are getting paid less, so the MDCs are going to be making more money. Now, when you're farming and when you're doing all these different types of agriculture or even mining, the environmental effects can be large. So if you click down on the next slide, you have your land degradation, and there's two main types that we're going to talk about, and that's deforestation and desertification. There's also things such as fracking, mining, oil drilling, all that, and there's actually a fracking video linked below, or linked in the PowerPoint if you'd like to watch it. The first one, desertification, so that's literally the word desert is in there. That's a process where this land on the outside of the desert is becoming desert. And this is due to overuse, this is due to climate conditions, this is due to various conditions. We talk about the Sahara growing, it's constantly growing every year. That land that is becoming the Sahara Desert, that is desertification. And you can do this through drought, inappropriate agriculture, anything like that can cause this. So it says, how do you think, if you scroll down, how do you think deforestation, desertification, and agriculture are all related? And that is due to the fact that if you abuse one, then you will end up hurting the other. And the other one I want to talk about that we talked about here is deforestation. So deforestation is a major issue in the world right now, especially when you're considering these individuals, or the population of the world is continuing to rise. So yeah, obviously with the population rising, certain areas are going to take away natural forest, or there's a big issue with the Amazon rainforest and companies wanting to cut into that. So deforestation is huge because you are taking away from these environments, from these agricultural ecosystems, and for the good of people, and to try to build these cities and other maybe job sites or companies or whatever have you. But the idea is you're destroying a major part of the Earth's ecosystem that we need. And then the last slide that I have for you, and it's probably one of the most important ones here, that's going to be your agricultural revolution. So on your study guide that I'm going to place out, you're going to have your agricultural revolutions. You're going to have to list all of them. The first one being Neolithic. The second one is the agricultural revolution. The third one is the green revolution. So the Neolithic revolution, this is the switching from hunting and gathering to planting and sustaining animals. This is traced back to 10,000 BCE. Agricultural revolution, it starts roughly about the same time as the Industrial Revolution, meaning there are more people that are living longer, there are more people that need more food, therefore you have to figure out more effective ways of farming and agriculture. So you're going to have these machinery, these products. The idea is you're having these new inventions spur ways to create more food at a faster rate to supply the population with the nutrition value and nutrients that they need from this agriculture. Then you have the green revolution. So this is again due to the fact that the population is growing in the world, and you need to be able to consistently stay on par with the amount of food that is needed to support a growing society. And it says here, it started during the 1950s as an effort to start LDC's hunger. It's one of the byproducts was biotechnology and GMOs. So usually in this unit we get to watch a little video about GMOs and how they're affecting what you eat and what you're eating now. So anyways, make sure that is the end of this PowerPoint. Make sure you're doing your work. Make sure if you're looking to turn in anything, please do it. Like I said, I'm going to put out the review guide with this. If you have your vocab or your project for this unit, I'd advise you turn that in, and stay tuned for different type of testing opportunities as we progress throughout this unit. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Until next time, I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching History with Howes.
Don't forget to
Like,
comment,
and subscribe.